Hi guys, welcome back to Diana's channel.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Diana and this is my husband.
Hubby Quentin.
Yeah, we are Indonesian and Namibian couple.
Right now staying in Namibia, yeah.
Right now staying in Namibia. And now my husband will interview me about positive and negative sides of
Indonesia,
and
Namibia.
according to my perspective, of course.
So this is part 2 of the video. Let's start with the positives of Namibia.
Okay, so the positive things about Namibia that I really like. When I first arrived in here, I was like amazed by like everything, like the buildings and everything, especially when I arrived in Windhoek for the first time. Windhoek looks like Europe, even though, like, for example, I traveled to Swakop as well, and then the buildings are super European. It's like you're not in Africa, but you're in Europe, and I kind of like it in a weird way. I don't know. I love it.
So what she's saying is Namibia reminds her of Europe
Yeah,
with
yeah. So
the
you
way...
don't have to go to Europe. You can just come to Namibia. Same ambiance.
I would
That's what I
definitely
thought.
agree with that, 100%, yes.
yeah,
There
yeah.
are some resemblances.
Next is the food. Like you said in the previous video, you guys talk about meat. You guys love, biltong a lot, and to be honest with you, I also like it, especially when you guys cook braai. There's a what? Can you tell everybody
So-
what braai means?
Braai is like grilling, but instead of doing it on electric grills or water grills and everything, we actually use real fire. Like I don't want to say like caveman, but like they were before technology existed. So we kept that tradition alive by grilling and frying meats or chicken or whatever you can think of on actual real fire.
Yeah.
So we will prepare firewood.
Yeah. And then the next one, I wrote it here. The landscapes makes you think that you are not on Earth. So last year I went on a trip to like go around Namibia, and then I visited Sossusvlei, where it's like fully all desert, and it's so weird. Like when you look around, it's just like you're not on Earth. It's like you're in Mars or something. It's just like mind blowing. I really love it. I really love it. Then the fourth one that I wrote in here, Namibians are very friendly and accepting Muslim community. Like in my previous place where I used to work, still in Africa as well, it's so hard to find a mosque, let's say, or at least like a proper mosque to pray, or for example, if you want to gather with like other Muslims as well, it's so hard. But in Namibia, it's very easy. You have how many mosques in Windhoek? Let's say two. The
No,
first one is
we've actually got a few. We've got I think 5 or 6 different mosques. But the
I
two
know
main
only two,
ones,
yeah.
she knows about the two main mosques, like the big mosques. So if I can just specify on that, like Namibia is a country that is very open and accepting to the Muslim or Islamic religion and community, and our second largest population in Namibia are Islam
Yeah.
people, Muslim people. So I can agree with her on that 100%.
Yeah. Okay, so now I will explain.
We are gonna do the negatives,
Yeah.
Miss Diana.
Yeah,
Yes.
according to my experience. So I came from a very humid country. Like I can sweat all day in Indonesia, but in here, even though it's hot, but it's dry. Sometimes my skin, I can feel my skin like a little bit dry here and there, so I need to moisturize it all the time. I need to buy like a lot of body lotions, everything, like basically the dryness, the dryness.
There's what she's trying to say is there's no moisture in the air
Yeah.
during summer times of Namibia.
Yeah.
The heat here is completely different to the heat in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Basically, I agree
Yeah.
with that. Sometimes it can get very, very, very hot to the point where it feels
Inconvenience
like
as well sometimes. Yeah.
your skin is boiling.
Yeah, I need to like, oh my god, apply lotion, hand cream every time. I need to get moisturized every time. So yeah. And then also the winter. I don't like winter in general. Even though like the winter in Namibia is not as bad as like maybe in Europe or in Canada or somewhere in the world, but I think again, as a person who was born and raised in a very, very hot, tropical, humid country, I don't like the winter.
So like I mentioned
Yeah, the previous
in the
video.
previous video, winters in Namibia can get horrible. Enough said on that.
Yeah, yeah. And then very limited transportation, like public
Public
transportation.
transportation,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So in Indonesia, especially when I used to live in Jakarta, we have a lot of public transportations. Bus, train, you name it. A lot.
Bus, train, car, bike.
Car, yeah, everything. But and then that's why I never learned how to drive bike, even bicycle or car. I never learned how to drive because it's very convenient in Indonesia. You can go anywhere with the public transportation. And then when I arrived here, I was like, oh no, I actually need to drive a car. Or I need to learn how to drive basically because everybody here go everywhere with the car, with like, private car. And then the very last one that I have in here on the list is electronic stuff, or not only electronic stuff, like stuff here it's more expensive than in Indonesia. Let's say, for example, if I want to buy a new iPhone 16 in Indonesia, it will maybe cost for about 20,000 Namibian dollars, which is like maybe 20 million rupiah. And then in Namibia, it costs like what, 40,000?
Yeah, if you're talking about Namibian dollars, it will be 45,000 Namibian
45,000
dollars.
Namibian dollars, or maybe it equals like 47 million rupiah. So it's like what, it's twice the price. So if you wanna like buy something, buy in Indonesia and then bring it to Namibia. I don't know if it's okay.
100%. No, I
but
agree. Yeah,
if you need to
Namibia.
pay tax, then it's fine. At least it's
Yeah.
cheaper still.
No, I agree. That's
I
one
think.
point I forgot to mention about the negatives of Namibia in my
Yeah.
video. It's very expensive here, guys. The economy is super, super, super expensive. So when visiting, please keep that in mind. Now, my wife is going to explain to you about her place of residency, which is the beautiful, most amazing Indonesia, or at least I think so.
So the first thing that I like about Indonesia is cheap. Like,
Agreed.
yeah, like for example, when I compare to like the countries where I used to live, previous one, and then like the place where I'm living right now, which is Namibia, the country where I'm living now. Still, when I compare, everything's still cheaper in Indonesia. Way, way much cheaper. So I don't know. I mean, as a frugal, very frugal person myself, I think living in Indonesia is like bring more benefits.
So when you say
my-
everything is cheaper, do you mean everything in general or like specific things?
Financial, yeah. Like living costs, like even like groceries, toiletries, everything is so cheap. Cheaper
I can
than in
agree.
here.
I can agree with that
yeah.
100%, yeah.
And yeah, sometimes it's a good thing to, if like we plan to stay in Indonesia, it's way cheaper and it's good for our financial stuff.
Next would be
The convenience, I guess, because we have Gojek, we have Go Food, we have Grab, we have Shopee, Tokopedia, we have TikTok Shop. You can just like pay everything with QRIS, like a digital wallet. You don't need to bring cash everywhere. I think it's very convenient, very, very convenient. Everything is easy. You don't have to like go to the grocery store to buy stuff. You can just like open up an app and then
no, that I agree with. I
everything
agree
will
with that.
be in front of your house in 15
Getting
minutes.
something in Indonesia is super easy, super
Yep.
quick, super
Yep.
convenient. And just so you know, I knew TikTok was going to be mentioned somewhere in this video, guys.
Yeah, because I love TikTok. Yeah, of course. Anyway, so that's the second one. And then I have the third one that I wrote in here, which is you can find everything in e-commerce, like I mentioned before, like Shopee, Tokopedia, TikTok Shop. Like you can find miscellaneous stuff that you don't even need. I'm serious. Like weird stuff. You can buy
When
weird stuff.
I went with my wife to Indonesia, upon arrival at our house, there were boxes stacked on top of boxes, stacked on top of
Yeah,
boxes
it was crazy, guys.
of
because
stuff she bought that was not necessary ever to buy.
Ever, yeah. Weird stuff. I love buying weird stuff. Anyway,
But yeah, you can find everything in
Everything,
Indonesia. It doesn't matter what you can think of, they will have it.
Okay, next, food, of course.
I
Can
agree.
you tell the viewers how many times I cried because I miss Indonesian food?
Oh my god, the first week when we arrived in Indonesia, when she had Indonesian, like I'm talking traditional Indonesian
Mm.
food, my wife was crying, happy crying. These were tears
Yeah,
of
yeah,
joy.
yeah.
That's how much she loves Indonesian food and missed Indonesian
Oh
food.
yeah, I miss Indonesian food so much. Um, like I don't know. When you visit Indonesia, do you like gacoan? Mie
Yeah, of
gacoan.
course, it was a bit hot for me, but I loved it. It
I
was
love mie
super yummy, yeah.
gacoan. I love like everything spicy food, especially like mie gacoan, macaroni ngehe. What else? Tahu bulat,
Mm.
bakso, somai, kue tiao.
Mm.
Everything. I love everything. I miss
It's like I
everything.
mentioned in my video, the
Mm.
food in Indonesia is
Amazing.
amazing.
Yes, yes. And then well, since I live in Namibia,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of dry again as I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
before, and then sometimes I miss the rain. I miss the rain. In
Mm-hmm.
Indonesia we have rainy seasons when like every day will be like, cloudy and
Mm-hmm.
raining
So you're a
basically.
rainy day, rainy season person,
Yes,
basically.
yes, I love it. I love it, especially if like it's raining and then it's weekend. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Saturday, let's say. Oh my god, you just need to sleep all day long.
Let's see, what are your negatives about Indonesia? What are like personal things or experiences in Indonesia that you don't like so much?
The first thing is people there are too friendly,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Meaning?
sometimes they can mind your own business, like my business. Do you get it?
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, if you are Indonesians, of course you will have like a big family, and
Mm-hmm.
then when like for example we celebrate like what Muslims holiday, big
Mm-hmm.
holiday like Eid, let's say, um like sometimes they will, like your family, your big family sometimes will ask you something too personal,
Mm-hmm.
but they think it's normal. It's like, a small talk. For example, they will ask you if you're not married yet, they will ask you, when are you going to get married? And then if you're married, they will ask you, when are you going to have a kid? And then when you have like one child, they will ask, when are you going to have the second
Mm-hmm.
one? Why are you so fat now?
So basically, what you're saying is when they do small talk, they don't know where the boundaries start. They
Yes,
don't
but
have boundaries, so
it
they
is.
ask very personal questions which they
Yeah.
think are okay to ask.
Yeah, but it's part of the culture. The thing is, it's part of the
Mm.
culture. It's always like that. Even before I
Mm.
was born, it's a normal thing. But I think, I mean,
So what you're saying is
it's
they get
too
too involved into your
personal.
private life.
Yes, yes,
Mm.
too friendly.
I understand.
And
Understand
because it's too
100%.
friendly, they think it's normal to ask you something private. Like they
Mm.
minding my business, not their business. Oops, sorry. Yeah.
Mm.
And then the second one is, as a local, they pay you like super low.
Mm.
And then the fact that we have also like one more tradition, like I think most of Indonesians, especially my age, experience, which is sandwich
Mhm.
generation, where you
Mhm.
need to pay your family's financials, like your parents, your brothers, your sisters, sometimes your uncle. I don't know, like sometimes you need to pay like everybody's expenses basically. And then
Mhm.
with the low salary, and then with that tradition, we can't even like save up money. It's going to be so hard to become rich
So basically, what you're
in
saying
Indonesia.
is, as a local hire or employee in Indonesia, the salaries that you guys get paid is not
Yeah,
always enough to
yeah,
take care of yourself and the family.
yes. That's why I tried to like find a better quality of life
Mhm.
by working abroad.
Understandable,
Yeah.
yeah.
One
You were
more,
on
is
your
it?
last point
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
of the
last point.
negative of
Okay,
Indonesia.
I wrote in here that as like one of the largest population in the world, we
Mhm.
have
The
like
fourth largest,
yeah, the
yeah.
fourth largest. We have so many people in Indonesia, and as an introverted person, to be honest with you, it's too crowded for me. I like quiet place. I like Namibia, let's say.
Mm.
I love it. It's quiet. In Indonesia, it's like very crowded, especially like in big cities
Mhm.
like Jakarta, let's say. So, yeah. Do you want to
So,
explain to them?
yeah, maybe if I can give you like an example of what my wife is trying to say is I think she suffers from social anxiety, meaning
Yeah, kind of.
that because at social events or gatherings in Indonesia, it can get super, super, super crowded and super claustrophobic when you're in more of a crowd that has, let's say, 100 and more people. She starts getting annoyed and very irritated very quickly.
Yeah.
I would say almost borderline anxious or nervous.
Remember when we had
The
the
Jakarta Fair,
Jakarta
yes.
Fair? We went to Jakarta Fair.
I loved it. Amazing
I
experience.
hate it
Yeah,
because
we.
there was so many people at that time. Like I was like, I can't even walk. It's like too packed, crowded. Oh, I don't like it.
Yeah, we went there for we paid for the tickets to have an experience, and we were there. I promise you guys, maybe for what, like 10 minutes,
10
maybe
minutes.
20 minutes max. And my wife was like,
Let's
F
go.
this, I'm over it, let's go home. She couldn't handle it, she couldn't deal with it. So sometimes, yes, I do agree with you. It does get overcrowded and super, super packed at certain social events in Indonesia.
And do you remember we had the magistrate court wedding, and then we
Oh,
went
yes.
home and we have like kind of pengajian, like a gathering,
Open
basically
house,
open
yeah.
house.
Open house.
And then they want, of course, like the guests want to take pictures with us, right?
And
But
it
I
can
was
get
like,
nerve-wracking, I agree, yeah.
that's too much, is it?
Too much socializing sometimes in Indonesia. It can get super busy and super crowded
Yeah.
very quickly, and it becomes a bit of an annoyance.
Yeah, right? Yeah, sometimes though, but not always, but most of the time. I need quiet space. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, this was part 2 of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like, please hit that like button, subscribe, and notification bell for future videos and updates on the daily life of Diana Rosca Apria and Quentin Smith, Indonesian Namibian couple. Ciao, see you
Ciao.
soon.
Thank you for watching.